Hi everyone, this is Rosemary Levesque, and thank you for joining us once again for the Healer's Journey webinar. This is number 4, I think, and it's called Vibration. There's so much to talk about with vibration, and I'm really glad you're here. This is a presentation that I've done before in different ways over the years, but it feels like now is the right time to bring it out to a larger audience, to you, and see what you think. I would love to have you participate in some of the comments that I have going on. Now, I have everybody unmuted, and I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody so that we won't have any background noise. If you do want to ask a question or you want to say something, then you can unmute your line. If you're on the phone, that would be *6. If you are online, there's a little picture of a microphone that you can click. So here is muting. All right. Everyone wants to know what the secret is. And the secret, what is the secret? What is the natural, the magic bullet? And what is the secret to natural health and to healing? Because remember, in these conversations about the healer's journey, we're talking about you. How are you coming into being? How are you manifesting your magic and your talents and gifts? Now, in the past on these webinars, I have read a disclaimer. It always bothered me, and so I decided to change that. So now I would like to proclaim something. We are proclaiming your intentions and power. So it goes like this. The information, thoughts, and ideas presented here honor your intentions to empower you with natural choices that support personal well-being. Conveyed with compassion, truth, and openness, our intention is to help you see beyond the filters of disclaimers which tend to support a one-sided approach to the health industry. We also proclaim that we are whole, vibrant beings in physical form and maintain sovereignty to nourish, support, and empower our lives with divine gifts and a natural ability to heal. Now, there is a quote from Thomas Edison. I actually have this quote on the back of my business card. I've had that for many years. Thomas Edison, of course, everybody knows who he is. He lived from 1847 to 1931, so just get a feel for what living in the world at that time was like. And he says, "The doctor of the future will give no medication, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame, diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease." Now, do you feel like we're there yet? Do you feel like we've accomplished that? Is the doctor of the future, he saw someone who is actually doing that? Not giving any medication, but interesting patients in the care of the human frame. Now, maybe not. So I would like to propose today that the healer of the future will have traveled the path of healers. Through experience, knowledge, and divine guidance, the healer of the future will interest individuals in the care of their energy bodies, the energy of the planet, and their alignment to higher vibrations. So that's where I see all of us going, that we are going to be caretakers of energy. So what do we need to know about the vibrations around us to affect change in our health and the health of others. What do we need to know about vibrations? So let's get started. Vibration and rhythm. For those of you who are calling in, we're going to have a lot of beautiful imagery. I hope you take the time to watch the webinar when you get the link for it. The image, I will just say, is a wave breaking in the ocean. And everything in nature has a vibration, a frequency, a rhythm. Here is a picture of a sunrise or sunset over a field of lavender. We see vibration in the visible spectrum of light. We are all connected to each other and to the earth. In this picture, the aurora borealis. This happens when particles in the atmosphere reflect the sun. Hummingbirds. Their wings beat 50 to 200 times per second and have the highest metabolism of any warm-blooded animal. In this picture of a butterfly, the butterfly evolution synchronizes with the evolution of flowers that are shaped to hold nectar in funnels. Well, hummingbirds do that, and butterflies will also evolve with the evolution of flowers. And of course, the butterfly evolved to present entirely different body forms to be in harmony with the plants and the seasons. They completely transform even their mouth parts to be able to eat plant leaves as larvae and nectar as adults. The autumn leaves pictured here show vibrant colors which are always present in the green leaves throughout summer. But trees drop their leaves to conserve energy for colder temperatures, and we see these vibrant colors when the green fades away. Here's a picture of beautiful fluorite heart-shaped crystal. Geologists measure the hardness, color, and other physical properties of crystals, and they actually are also able to measure their vibration. Food, of course, has a vibration. Here is a beautiful table of fruits and vegetables, very colorful foods that are actually holding a vibration of health and wellness. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. The frequency of the body. Now, the human body has an electrical frequency, and much about a person's health can be determined by one's frequency. This is from the book called The Body Electric by Dr. Robert O. Becker. So even people have a frequency, and you can determine their health by their frequency. And in this chart, which was established, you can find many of these details online, but Dr. Robert O. Becker, in his book, The Body Electric, talks about these vibrations, and he did some very interesting experiments with animals, showing that the cells in the animals communicate with each other to match the vibration of where they are being put. So a lizard's tail, for example, installed somewhere else on the lizard's body and grafted in, can actually grow into that kind of tissue that you would expect there. So let's take a look at the chart here. The brain frequency and the frequency in the brain with the beta, alpha, theta, and delta vibrations are really quite high. And the brain itself has a frequency of 80 to 82 megahertz. This is how we measure a frequency, where 80 to 82 indicates a genius, and the brain during other activities like sleep or meditation perhaps it will actually lower the vibration of what the brain is doing at the time. Now, the healthy body from the neck down holds a vibration somewhere in the range of 62 to 68 megahertz. And if you look at some of the other glands here that are listed, the measurement of megahertz in the body, they're all kind of within that range, some a little higher, some a little lower. But as you go down the list, you find that if the frequency drops just 4 points, this is when a headache will start at 58 megahertz. Disease begins, for example, with cold symptoms at 58 megahertz, and flu, viral infection, 57 megahertz, 55 megahertz. More serious problems come about, like pneumonia or the Epstein-Barr virus, at 52 megahertz. Now, we're getting farther and farther away of that normal range in a healthy human body of 62 to 68 megahertz. Tissue breaks down from disease at 48 megahertz. Cancer is possible to set in at 42 megahertz, and death begins at 20 megahertz, a very low vibration. So I'm going to ask you this: what causes, according to this chart, what causes cancer? Is it something outside ourselves? You know, is it what? Viruses? Is it metals? Is it smoking? Is it, you know, some of those things, environmental or whatever? Or is it something else that has perhaps lowered the vibration of the body so that cancer is now possible? Do you see where I'm going with this? We're looking at vibration of a healthy body, and I'm asking you to consider the idea that a lower vibration will allow different symptoms to manifest. So what can lower frequencies do? They can lower, these lower frequencies can cause us to feel ungrounded, low in energy, fearful, anxious, unable to think and speak clearly, unable to sleep well and dream. They can cause us to feel disconnected. Does anybody recognize these symptoms as associated with different parts of the body? If you were just to turn that list upside down and say ungrounded was at the bottom of the list, and next would be the energy level in the body, and next would be fearful as you come up the body from the bottom up. What are we talking about here? What energy centers in the body are affected or possibly affected by lower frequencies? Do you think that perhaps lower frequencies in the body can affect the energy centers or the chakras in the body? And if the chakras are off balance or low in energy, then perhaps we do feel ungrounded. Perhaps we are low in energy. Perhaps we are fearful, and so or disconnected or unable to think and so forth. And these are all related to energy centers that we have talked about in classes, that you've read about, that you are aware of, the energy centers called the chakras. In fact, the choices we make, along with our environmental circumstances, our thoughts and emotions, can shift our energetic vibration profoundly. We are ultimately responsible for our own vibration and the effect we have on the vibration of the planet. Take a breath. We are responsible. How we think, how we feel, what is going on in our environment, what can we control, what do we have an effect on? Well, we're responsible for that. Here's a quote from Dr. Candace Pert. I mentioned her in a previous webinar. She's the author of Molecules of Emotion She says, we're not just little hunks of meat. We're vibrating like a tuning fork. We send out a vibration to other people. We broadcast and receive. Thus, the emotions orchestrate the interactions among all our organs and systems to control that. So we're vibrating. We have a frequency. We are telling people with our energy how we feel. We are receiving other people's energy, and our emotions are orchestrating all of the interactions. So I ask you, what lowers your vibration? What will lower your vibration? Well, stress can have an effect, right? Poor nutrition, toxins, electromagnetic frequencies, that cell phone, the Wi-Fi router, the microwave oven, all of those things that are around us, the cell phone tower, radiation, your computer. And so all of these things around us and things that we are dealing with in our lives can actually lower our vibration. So let's go through a few of these and just, I could talk for hours on any one of these topics, toxins in particular. I've been working with detoxification for many years, and in this picture you see people on bicycles wearing masks. It looks like an industrial area in China. According to medical science, there is a direct link between toxic body burden and disease. There is a body burden, especially in newborns, a body burden of more than 200 toxins in 100% of newborn children. So people who have not yet even taken their first breath are already toxic. Where did they get that? And why does it matter? Now let's take a look at this chart here. This is a chart of electromagnetic radiation spectrum, and you can see on that bar on the left, going from left to right, the biological effect that different wavelengths of radiation have. So it starts out with a very, a very long wavelength. And a long wavelength is non-ionizing radiation. And as the wavelength gets shorter and shorter, smaller and smaller, it becomes more invasive. It's ionizing radiation. And the difference between non-ionizing radiation and ionizing radiation is that non-ionizing radiation might heat things up, might stimulate cell activity to create heat. You know, like a cell phone gets hot when you hold it to your head. That's non-ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation causes DNA damage. It actually will pull electrons from the molecules in your cells and cause damage. Those are the X-rays and gamma rays. Those are the PET scans. Those are the X-rays at the airport. These are cosmic gamma radiation. All of these things cause DNA damage. Now, here's an interesting point. You might say, okay, well, I can live with non-ionizing radiation. All right, that's just going to heat things up a little bit, right? Well, we'll get back to that in just a moment. In this slide here, it's a picture that I grabbed from the internet shortly after the tragedy in Fukushima, after the tidal wave from the tsunami tore down the nuclear power plant and killed so many people. That is still uncapped. It is still pouring radiation into the planet, into the ocean, and into the atmosphere. And after 3 days, 6 days, 10 days, you can see the progress of that nuclear fallout across the ocean and into the United States. It had me very, very concerned. This is a nuclear war without a war. This is the unspoken crisis of worldwide nuclear radiation. And so, very concerning. And it is still there. Another breath. I promise this gets better. Now, how do heavy metal toxicity, how does heavy metal toxicity react with radiation? We said that non-ionizing radiation, okay, not so bad, but it can actually, if we have heavy metals in us, it can actually make us very sensitive. It can make electrohypersensitivity worse. So the issue of heavy metal toxicity in relation to electromagnetic toxicity may be one of the most significant. Now, according to Dr. Yoshiaki Omura's research, the more your system is contaminated with heavy metals from silver amalgam fillings, eating contaminated fish, living downstream from coal-burning power plants, and so forth, the more your body becomes a virtual antenna that actually concentrates radiation, making it far more destructive. So one thing all by itself, okay, maybe not so bad. Maybe it'll lower our vibration a little bit, maybe not a big deal. But we get things in combination, and that's when our vibration is affected in a more profound way. So is it possible to avoid exposure to harmful vibrational frequencies? Maybe, and we'd have to work at that. Can we utilize vibration to increase our own vibrational frequency? Now that's a very relevant question. Can we utilize vibration to increase our vibrational frequency? Because all of these things all around us, toxins like heavy metals and pesticides, EMFs, radiation, stress, and poor nutrition lower our vibration. Now, can we actively work to utilize vibration to increase our own frequency? You bet. How do we come into alignment with the beneficial vibrations of nature? And this is what we're talking about when I say the healer of the future will have walked the path of other healers and will bring forward this knowledge that we can connect to these vibrations. So let's see what some of these vibrations are. Here's how to increase your vibration or your frequency. We can look at food and even supplements. We must look at detoxification, not only a physical detoxification, but also emotional detoxification. We want to get rid of some of those bad emotions or those strong negative emotions that lower our vibration. We'd like to talk about essential oils as being able to raise our vibration. And what about energy work like Reiki? How about crystals and even intentions, sound therapy, and movement? So this is a list of vibrational work that we will keep coming back to. In fact, I have more to share with you on that a little bit later. But food and supplements, detoxification for physical and emotional, essential oils, energy and Reiki, crystals, intentions, sound, and movement will be your best friends for increasing your vibration. Now, it has been said that food is the best medicine, and you don't see anything packaged here except maybe those tea leaves in a tea bag, right? These foods are as close to raw as possible, as close to natural as possible. There is an electrical frequency of food, and it has been measured. People have done this. You try to measure the frequency of canned or processed food, and you don't get any measurement at all. 0 hertz. Fresh produce has a measurement of 15 hertz. Dried herbs in their concentrated form, 12 to 22 hertz, and fresh herbs, 20 to 27 hertz. So we can see that where canned and processed food, well, maybe that's not the way we want to go if we want to increase our vibration. That might be an interesting place to start for some of us. If we are eating processed foods at all, you might even suggest an affirmation for yourself that say, I only eat foods that increase my vibration. See what that does for you over the next few weeks. There is an electrical frequency of food, but is there an electrical frequency of medications? No, medications don't have an electrical frequency. They don't. They are not supportive. They are not nourishing for the body. They do not increase the vibration of the body. So among the foods that we would like to focus on tonight are the ones that are very powerful in antioxidants. Notice these are dark fruits and like the blueberries and goji berries and blackberries. According to Dr. Bruce Ames of the University of California at Berkeley, he estimates that the DNA of each of our cells is attacked by free radicals over 10,000 times per day. So that's that radiation that we were talking about, radiation that pulls away electrons. And what we can do is provide antioxidants that have a high ORAC value, the oxygen radical absorption capacity, to replace those electrons. So here are some foods that are high in an ORAC score: carrots, oranges, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, and we're going up, up, up the list. Chinese Ningxia wolfberry, or the goji berry, has 25,300 in ORAC score, and raw cacao powder, for everyone who loves chocolate out there as much as I do, raw cacao powder, 95,500 on the ORAC score based on 100 milliliters. So you might say that if you eat unprocessed, whole, vital foods, that will help your vibration. You can repair cells also with targeted nutritional supplements, and this is something I also recommend researching or talking to me about. I've spent many years on this topic as well, and have dedicated a lot of time and energy to very specific nutritional supplements that work well with the clients that I'm talking to. So foods and supplements. Also, avoiding exposure to toxins. Don't use those chemical sprays. Don't use pesticides in your yard. Don't put some medications on your pets. You read the labels on products that you're using as a way to avoid exposure to toxins. Actively detoxify. You must take out the heavy metals. I was reading recently from an article that a friend sent me that in the center of tumors, they find mercury. Mercury is found in the center of tumors, many tumors. And there is also an association of people who have had a root canal. Very often a root canal will involve a heavy metal. On the same side as the person has had a root canal, they can find breast cancer. Same side. So does mercury play a role in the formation of cancer? The evidence seems to be pointing in that direction. Possibly yes. We also want to find ways to release stress, releasing the emotional toxins. We want to laugh. We want to connect to animals and nature. This is a picture of a Rhodesian Ridgeback with his nose on his favorite girl. She's pinned to the grass. And of course, that would be my favorite picture as well. We want to laugh. We want to connect with animals. We want to be grounded, and we want to be able to release those negative emotions. Meditation is a wonderful way to bring in peace and calm and to release emotions as well. Now let's take a look at the vibration of essential oils. I just have two listed here. Basil essential oil has a relatively low vibration on the vibration scale of essential oils. It comes in at 52 megahertz. And rose essential oil is the highest known vibration oil at 320 megahertz. So using essential oils can help shift your vibration, raise your vibration if you are going to use them. Just as food would, this plant medicine could be very beneficial for you. There is an ORAC score of essential oils because essential oils are plants and many of them can be taken internally. Now if you look at that chart, lavender has an ORAC score of 3,669. By the time you go down the list, you get to clove, you're at 10,786,000, etc. And remember, raw cacao powder was about 95,000, right? This is not a typographical error. Clove has a very high ORAC score. It has a very efficient way of combining with free radicals. What makes the difference? Oranges, 750 score. Essential oil of orange, 18,898, almost 19,000 in the same amount of, same quantity of orange essential oil. Reiki self-treatment using energy work can change your vibration. Many of you can attest to that. Whether you're doing it yourself or receiving it as a healing session, many people will find it very relaxing to receive healing energy. It's nice not to have to work sometimes. You know, we always have to work on ourselves, that goes without say, but sometimes the healer needs to go and have a healing session. I try to make that a regular session for myself as well. There is a vibration of crystals. We showed you earlier the picture of a fluorite heart, which has a measurable vibration. I love to use crystals in my work and find that having them around my space or under the table, as they are shown here, can actually shift the vibration of the session, can shift the vibration of my space. In fact, they are always working. They are, they set the mood in the room. They hold the energy in the room. I give them a job to do, and they're really good at doing it. So I appreciate the work of working with crystals. Intentions, as we talk in class about intentions, they are your most powerful tool. And the intentions we like to always include are for the greatest and highest good, with an expression of gratitude. These things change a person's vibration. Your words, your intentions, your thoughts always will change your vibration. You have the choice of lifting, raising your vibration, or succumbing to the lower vibrations. Sound vibrations. In this picture, two people, one is a baby playing a piano. Sound has a profound effect on us. Is there a kind of music that you prefer to listen to? Or perhaps you would like to know that certain frequencies of sound actually can manifest in physical forms. In this picture, it's a picture of cymatics, C-Y-M-A-T-I-C-S, at 5,201 hertz. This particular frequency creates a pattern. They do this with a black surface. It could be black paper, and that's probably salt grains on the black paper with wires hooked up to it, so that when this particular frequency is played, what happens is the paper vibrates, the whole surface vibrates, and it forms a pattern. So all the salt grains move until they form this pattern. It's amazing to watch. I did this myself here in my own healing center, not as beautifully as that, but I did have some black paper, I did have some salt, and I played tuning forks near these papers, and the salt moved and it began to form patterns. So in my own rudimentary way, I was able to repeat a scientific experiment. Now, if sound can do that to salt grains, what can it do to your body? Could sound affect a pattern, a change of pattern in your body in a beautiful, symmetrical way, or perhaps a chaotic way, depending upon the sound? Something to consider. Well, I like for this the solfeggio frequencies, and we can talk more about this another time, but they have very specific frequencies. If you take a look at the numbers that are on here, 396, 417, 528, 639, 741, 852, if you were to add up 3 plus 9 plus 6, what do you get? 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. You get a 9, right? A 4 plus 1 plus 7, out of 417, that's 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 7 is 12, 1 plus 2 is 3, so you get a 3. So we're going to get 3s, 6s, and 9s with these frequencies of solfeggio frequencies. Very fascinating in the effect that it has on the body. In fact, these are tuning forks I use in my healing sessions. Notice the colors. The colors match the chakras. This is no coincidence. These are body tuners, and I like to suggest that you can apply essential oils to the bottom of your feet and use a body tuner, like I have here in this picture, to apply to the bottom of the feet. And you see there's a map on the bottom of the body. Reflexologists use this map to determine where different organs are in the body. And you can affect change for your body just by working on the bottom of your feet. You can raise your vibration. Movement, of course, through dance, through yoga, through running, through creating specific patterns of motion. This is something we get into in our shamanic classes, and we will be doing more of in Illumination Reiki. And I'd like to end with this particular quote. This is from the Keys of Enoch by J.J. Hurtak, written in 1977. You can actually download this book, The Keys of Enoch, find it on a website for free to your Kindle or to your computer. It says, "We will not suffer the negative irradiation or excessive ultraviolet radiation that will bombard places of the earth, for we will inhabit the safe zones at the time of the great geophysical upheavals. The thought adjusters are now correcting and repairing our blood crystallization levels of ionized consciousness through frequency attunement. This is the making of a people within a people, and a mind of light within a mind of light. With this change, the physical flesh, the temple of the higher garment, will receive a new garment of light." We could spend a lot of time talking about this particular quote, and I would like to come back to this another time, but I want to ask you, who are the thought adjusters? And what is frequency attunement? I encourage you to look this up, who are the thought adjusters, but I will just say this, that living within the mind of all humans is a divine, undiluted fragment of the infinite God, the missing piece of the puzzle for which men have searched for and sages pointed to with upraised hands. Yet for all our searching, our writings on ancient scrolls, our telescopes pointed up to the heavens, the elusive God has always been here within. I am going to unmute the lines. And I would love to hear any comments you might have on who are the thought adjusters. Do you have any thoughts on who the thought adjusters are?
Is it our higher being, or part of our higher self with benevolent being?
It could very well be our higher self. And how does our higher self communicate with us?
Oh, gosh. Emotions, sensations.
All the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time, through dreams and intuition, through gut feelings. And according to what I read to you that is not on the screen, gee, we've been looking up to the heavens for a long time. But where is God? Where is this fragment of God really? It's right inside of us, right? And so could we be the thought adjusters? Is it possible that we could help shift the consciousness of those around us just because of our vibration, because of who we are and what we say and how we think? There was these are rhetorical questions. We can have conversation if you like, and I want to honor everybody's time, but I just want to mention I was traveling one time, and I was on the plane. I took out an essential oil. I didn't put any in the palm of my hand. I didn't want to interfere with other people's experience on the plane, but only influence my experience. I believe I had frankincense out with me, and I was inhaling frankincense deeply. It felt wonderful. And the man next to me struck up a conversation about that. And he was intrigued, asked for my card, and looked at it, and he said something interesting. He said, "So how do you feel about alcohol? You know, are you against alcohol?" I'm not sure where that came from, right? How he got that from my business card. But I thought about it, and I said, well, I like wine. And you know, I'm okay with alcohol. And I said, I do understand that there are many people who would abuse alcohol, right? Over years, over time, people have abused alcohol. And yet people also abuse words. Yet I like words. You know, how do people abuse words, right? They do name calling, or they say hateful words, or manipulative words, or powerful words that don't serve a higher purpose. And so, gee, words could be bad too, right? Alcohol could be bad too. So, you know, certain plant medicines could be bad too. But how do you work with them? How do you feel about them? And so I said those things to him about words and wine, and he said, oh, so was I in that moment perhaps being a thought adjuster? Was I giving him a different perspective on what alcohol could be? You know, how was wine intended back, you know, many years ago? It was ceremonial, right? It's still ceremonial, but it's gone a little wayward also, I would say. But it's still ceremonial. And when it's treated with respect and ceremony, it has terrific value. Could we be thought adjusters?
Absolutely.
We could, couldn't we? Yeah? We could offer a different perspective on an idea without criticizing or demeaning or contradicting. We could just shift the vibration just a little bit to be a thought adjuster, perhaps? Yeah? Okay. And what about a frequency attunement? What do you think a frequency attunement is? I'm going to go back on the screen to frequency attunement. Okay. So the thought adjusters are now correcting and repairing our blood crystallization levels of ionized consciousness through frequency attunement. Could that mean that we are changing our vibration by becoming more consciously aware of what is good for us and what is in alignment with our highest good? Could we become more aware of frequencies of sound, of food, of toxins or toxin-free zones, or creating space that has a particular frequency or vibration, different feel? Could this be a frequency attunement that we are experiencing if we do these things, if we are in alignment with these things? Possibly, yeah? So lots to think about, and I've been thinking about this for a long time, but I bring it out to you today because I would like you to begin thinking about it too. So I ask you, where will your path lead you? And I ask also that you get started on your path to a vibrational well-being. The best way to reach me, of course, is through my website, secondnaturehealing.com, or you can email me. Those of you who have my number, which is available on my website, you can give me a call. And our classes in our new location will start in January. We will be, my daughter Michelle and I will be unveiling our new Illumination Reiki program, and we will incorporate vibrational energy into this program. If you are not registered for the Healer's Journey webinar, then it's, well, I'd like you to register for it. I will send you, now that I've got my technology figured out, I will send you the recordings from these webinars so that you will have them. And what is the secret, by the way? The secret is to let healing be second nature. It should be easy. It should be natural. It should be in alignment with higher vibrations. And so thank you so much for being here tonight.